name is Rick Passek, the Fly Fish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today I'm going to be tying, it's a really super simple pattern. I've had such good success with this pattern. It's actually one of my best patterns, and I know this sounds weird, but it's one of my best patterns for large fish. I've caught multiple fish, 5 to 8, 9 pounds rainbow trout on this pattern. And again, super simple pattern. So it's my version of the ruby-eyed leech. So that's my go-to color, is that one right there. I also tie it in a more of a darker red. Wine actually is the name of the chenille, with the wine marabou. This one I've put a little bit of flash in the tail. Sometimes flash works, sometimes it doesn't in the tail. I tie this in the root beer color as well. I tie it in the red. I tie it in the wine. And then my favorite, which is the one that I showed you at first, is actually not an ice chenille. This is what they crystal flash, cactus crystal flash. That's this one here, the blood red. This is this one is my go-to. It's my favorite. So for today's tying video here, I will use let me get it into the hook here. It's a Hen's VL 700 in a size 12. I've used a small red glass bead. I only got a couple left. I have to go hunt some more down. That's a tiny little, that first one in the front. And then the second one comes out of this bead kit here. Let's see if I can show it up there. There. Comes out of this bead kit from Michael's. You can get this probably down in the States at Joann's or whatever. And it's just got multiple different sizes and different colors of red. I've got it in blue as well and in green. I don't use a ton of glass beads, but when I do, I want to have a good variety. So I'll be tying it with Semperfli Nano Silk 12-aught in red. I'll be using this crystal, the Crystal Cactus Flash from Canadian Llama. I'll be using a red marabou, and like I said, sometimes I'll use the wine. Sometimes I'll use a flash. I actually like the crinkle flash better. But I think for today's video, I'm not going to actually put any in. I'm going to tie this exact pattern here. I usually don't put it very much in the way of flashes, and so much flash in this body that you don't need it in the tail. So again, really simple pattern to tie. Nano silk, slippery. Got to put some wax on it. Okay, put a bed of thread down. Get that nicely put down. You see, it's kind of looks a little bit black there. That's because of the wax that I use, but it's not a big deal. It'll go. You're not going to see that. It's going to be underneath. You're not going to actually see any of the thread at all because the tie-in is going to be behind this eye. So. Don't forget, if you like these videos, to go over and subscribe and like the video and smash that notification bell so you don't miss any. I'm going to try to get 2 to 3 videos out, at least 2 to 3 videos out a week, if not more. So yeah, just keep an eye out. So like I said, really simple pattern. I go right to the front here. I'm going to take some of my marabou and I'm going to strip it off. For those of you that haven't used a lot of marabou, those of you that are fairly new at tying, you can, if you want to, just push this all forward and just tie it in like that. But I find that these tips sometimes, especially with the cheaper marabou, and this is a fairly cheap one, they're a little stiff. So what I do instead is I'll stroke it out. I'll try to find the center, the quill, right? Stroke it down like this. Actually, I'll do this on this camera here so you guys can see. So I stroke it down, and then I'll grab it on one side. I'll peel it off. And I'll twist it down. So now it's on top of the next layer. Peel it off, twist it. Peel it off, twist it. Peel it off, twist it, rip it off. So now I've got my little bundle, okay? Now I'm going to take my little bundle, Just going to roll it a little bit in my hand here just to get it nicely nice. Then I've got that. Now I could just measure and then cut it, but I'm gonna tear this anyway. So what I'm just gonna do is try to get rid of some of this fluff at the end. So just cut this off. Then you can just grab it and just kind of go through there with your nail, forefinger. Just get some of this fluffy stuff. See that? Just try to get that off at your tie-in point here, just to make it a bit thinner. It doesn't really matter on this pattern, but just get used to doing that for all your patterns, because then you can keep a nice thin body going on. So just tie this in from behind the second bead there, all the way, just tie it nicely down, all the way back to where the barb would be if this was a barbed hook, so roughly there. Then you lift your tail up, go in underneath it, under and around, under, back under the hook and around, at least twice. I like doing it 3 times. That will keep your tail from fouling around your hook when you're casting and stuff. So I want this a little bit longer than the body of my fly, the tail. So there's about body. I'm going to go a little bit longer, grab onto it with this hand, and then just tear this off. And you want it uneven. You don't ever want to cut marabou. If you watch any of my videos, I say that every time. Don't cut marabou. Okay, so like now, you could, if you wanted to, add some flash in it, in the tail. I'm not gonna. Like I said, there's plenty of flash in this body material. So now I'm taking my crystal flash, cactus flash, sorry. I'm gonna take and I'm gonna strip away some of these fibers here to expose that center core. So you see how I've exposed that center core there? So I'm gonna just lay that center core down, catch it in, just make sure I've caught it in nicely, all the way back to the tail. Just make sure that's nicely caught in. Okay, and then just wrap this back forward. Like I said, this is a super simple pattern. I just always like giving it a bit of a half hitch there, just in case I bump it and I don't want to knock it off, right? So now I'll do one, and I'll do a second one right, basically bump right up against it. Okay, so there. Now I'll stroke my materials back as I go, as much as I can. And yes, you will catch the bead every once in a while you're stroking. Not a big deal, it'll pop back. And right up against that last one, stroke as much as you can. You won't get them all, some will be caught. It's not a huge deal. Okay, stroke back, stroke back. I'm going to do one more. I think I'll get one more right behind there. Yeah, there we go. So, and then I'm going to lock it down, lock it down, lock it down, 3 times behind, 3 times in front, another time behind, another time, a couple of times in front. I'm going to nip off my, right at the core. All right, so I nipped off my waist, or my leftover. I won't call it waist because there was lots left there. Just give another half a dozen or so turns, or a dozen turns, not a big deal. Then I'm going to get my whip finisher wherever I put it, right there. Just give yourself a nice whip finish right behind that second bead there. And as I do with almost all of my leeches, no matter what, I do a second set. Okay. And then I'll nip that off. I'll take my handy dandy brush here. It's got 2 ends to it. This one, it's got a little end here and a bigger end on the other side. I've got, as you can see, I've got Velcro glued on both ends. That's for when I'm doing anything with dubbing. So I'll take my smaller end. It's a little stiffer, and I'm just gonna, if there's any of those little pieces of fiber that are caught underneath there, just gonna try to pick them out. That's it. So, like I said, super simple fly, but in all honesty, I've probably caught more of my large fish, large rainbow trout, on this fly than any other. This is by far my most successful large fish pattern. So again, it's very simple. Don't get too picky and hung up on the beads. I've also used a I like having a really red small bead at the front, and then I'll use a red bead behind it, or I'll use a really red small one at the front and an orange bead behind it. Quite often that orange really sticks out too. I don't have a sample of it, but a nice that really nice orange glass bead will work really well as well. So I fish these on a sinking line. It depends on the water that I'm fishing, but a lot of times just a type 1, like a slime line or something like that, just nice and slow. Sometimes if I'm wanting to get deeper, I'll throw it on a type 3, but I think I've had more success on a type 1 with this one. This thing has been absolutely deadly for many years for me. So again, really super simple pattern to tie. For those that are just beginning, this is probably a good one to start with because it's really, there's not much to it. So alrighty. So once again, if you like my videos, subscribe and like the video and smash that notification bell, and we'll see you on the next time video. Alrighty.